How's everybody doing tonight? You remember the wood trick dragon castle? Because we're up to day 14 of that. We took a little break. I think it was a 4-day break to build a paper macaw for some reason. Anyway, now we're back to the dragon castle. Maybe I just had gotten too many splinters from this dragon castle. So on day 13, we had problem. Let me see if I can get you a view of this close up. Let me get a little closer, I think. Yeah, so in there, that's like a double pin because there's two boards. So there's four pins really. One pin here, and then a double here. So when day 13 ended, I couldn't get this flat, and now it's kind of flat. And I don't know if you can see in there, I just like crushed this thing on. Basically, there's like these little tabs. Like if you look here, you can see those little tabs on the side. So one of those tabs just got bent down. You see there's like the big part in the middle and the two skinny parts on the end. Well, the front end of this one just got smashed. That's how I got it on. I just like squeezed it. I closed my eyes when I squeezed it in case the splinter went flying so it wouldn't hit me in the eye. Anyway, so I promised at the end of day 13 that I would explain how that happened. Well, I didn't test it yet, so we can test it live. So let's see what happens when I lift this thing up. Maybe go to camera 3 for this test, I think. Alright, so we got this here. We're going to try to lift this. It's not moving at all. Wow. Well, that's a fail. I think this is supposed to move up and down, and it's supposed to turn everything else. I'm looking at it now, and it looks like it's not lined up. Like in the process of brute forcing that down, these things got offline. That's a problem. I'm not sure what to even do about that. I certainly don't want to waste the show worrying about it. But at the same time, I don't think I can move forward. I mean, I certainly can't do the test. I should have tested it before I went. So if you peek in there, you see the gear is jammed. I'm not sure if there's anything I can really do about it other than take it apart and put it back together. Wow. I wonder if I'd gotten the gears lined up, if the pin would have went in a little smoother. Well, looks like we're going to pop it off and line it up. So that work I did offline to get this together, I'm now undoing it because this is not lined up. It's probably going to fit better if I get it lined up. So maybe that's part of the secret. Make sure this gear is lined up with this track. Because if it's not, then you can't pull it close enough to close it. Though now I feel like it's going to be loose. Because now that I jammed it on, like forced it on, now if I line it up correctly, it's probably going to be loose. Alright, I pulled it off. Let's see if we can line it up correctly this time. It's still not moving. Alright, this one, the one that was impossible to get on, is now kind of the only one on. Alright, there's nothing on now. Still can't get it lined up. Maybe turn it here. Alright, there we go. Okay, that's lined up. Let's hold it lined up while we get these three pieces back on. These three pins back on. So we're basically starting the show. Redoing something that's already been done because it wasn't done correctly. Alright, let's see. Well, that just went on so easy. Okay, so my way of doing it, which was just to squeeze it with 200 pounds of pressure, Actually, I was using both hands, so it probably was like at least 350 pounds of pressure. Anyway, that wasn't the answer. The answer was to get this gear lined up. In fairness, I didn't look at this for 5 days. And then I just like looked at it really quickly before I went live tonight, and in like 5 minutes got it together. I mean, obviously, as I said, I just smushed it together. So that wasn't the answer is not smushing it together. The answer is get this gear lined up, and then you should be able to reach this pin. In fact, it's very easy once the gear is lined up. All right, let's see if it'll move now. It's still not moving, but what I don't know is how it's supposed to move. Like, am I supposed to lift this up? Or am I supposed to turn these gears? Like, what's supposed to happen first? I don't know. I feel like we should keep building and then see what happens. There's nothing really obvious to turn this gear. I can turn it with my finger. I can lift this thing. That's the most obvious thing, but there's not really a handle on it. And it certainly doesn't move smoothly. I'm going to try to just jack it up there. See what happens. Alright, if I like... So we're resorting again to the brute force method. Because we want to see this thing go up. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Nothing good. There were no good sounds there. So, let's push it back down. I don't know. I mean, the gear turns like... Does that look like it's working? You know what? Let's build the other side, and then maybe... Let's not resort to the brute force until we have the other side built. Because maybe that's going to make it, like, operate a little smoother. I don't know. Alright. Page 25. We're up to 388 out of 978 pieces. Wow, so we're not even halfway yet. Alright. Page 25. Did we do page 25? I think we did. It looks like we completed page 25. Yeah. You know, here's a funny thing. That almost looks like a key. Like, if you look at this in the 2D, it almost looks like a key, this piece here. But in reality, there's like space in between. So, when you look at it for real, you see the space here. But when you look at that 2D, image, it looks like it's a key, and maybe it's relevant, but it's not. Excuse me. Hold on 1 second. One of the reasons I was doing that macaw puzzle is I did like 4 round-trip road trips in 6 days, and I did big jobs on the other 2 days. Then I wasn't doing road trips, so I was really exhausted. I think I'm going to get the oil on my car changed tomorrow. Anyway, not that I was exhausted, but the wood trick puzzle, dragon, castle, it takes some setup. So right now we're in 2 pieces. This huge piece, which is the base. Actually, this huge piece is also going to be part of the base. Once we finish this piece, you can sort of see how they're going to go together there, and that's going to be the full base. So there's like going to be 6 like towers right now, or I don't know, 4 towers and 2 something else's. So you can see the one here is like missing. So that's probably what we're going to build right now. So let's get on that. Is this camera like crooked? Alright, that's a little better. How about this camera? Yeah, that's good. Alright, so page 26, I guess. is what we need to do. Page 26. Yeah, we're building the other thing. It needs boards 1 and 2. The first instruction uses piece 39, 61, and 72 through 76. So that's 7 pieces. That brings us at 395 pieces. And I have to grab boards 1 and 2 to find those pieces. So the reason I was doing those trips, I won't go into all of the details, but one of the important parts was my son starting college. And some good reports back. It's a very weird thing. If you haven't sent any of your kids to college yet, it's very weird. It's it can be very emotional. For everyone going to college and staying behind in the house, and my wife even said it best, like a couple of days afterward. She was like, we didn't do anything wrong. He just went to college. Like, why is it like you have feelings like, of course you feel like the family's being like torn apart when really they're not. It's just one person's going to be living in another city while he goes to college for a few years. It's just a really weird feeling if you haven't been through it yet. I heard people talk about it, and we now experienced it. Anyway, so that was like the drop off. That was emotional. But it was kind of mitigated because my son's birthday was, like, the freshmen had to go early for orientation, and my son's birthday was the day before classes start. So we went back. That's why we did like multiple trips. We actually, went back, see how he's doing. Not see how he's doing. Celebrate. We went back to celebrate his birthday, but in the process, we got to see how he was doing. And we also got a second chance to set up the dorm room. So, like, after he'd lived in it for 3 days, we sort of saw what was missing, like things that we wouldn't have thought of, including like dehumidification, air freshening, nail clippers, hangers. I don't know. It's maybe like maybe we could have done a little better job anticipating what would be needed, but really we couldn't, because there's a lot of things we didn't know about the actual room and the building and the airflow and everything. And his roommate is from close by, so his parents also made multiple trips. They added fans. It's gonna be cold where he is. It's Albany, New York, Santa College. It's gonna be cold, but it's not cold yet. So a lot of, like, today it was 92, tomorrow it's going to be 93. So a lot of fans were set up in the room. I'm not seeing the pieces that I need. Oh, okay, because I left them out. All right. So this is probably them, right? Yeah, 72, 73, 74, 75, and 76. So we already had this board out here. And as you can see, there's tons of splinters on all these pieces. I kind of forgot about that, doing that macaw puzzle for 4 days. It was like a paper. I'd show it to you, but it's in another room right now. It's cute, actually. It's a paper puzzle that looks like a red macaw. It's a little bird, like kind of like a parrot, but like it kind of looks different. Macaw, if you look at them, they have kind of funny faces, funny noses, beaks. It's a funny little bird. So that we spent 4 days doing that, and that's now. It's actually on the staircase. I was saying yesterday that we're gonna put it on the dining room, and maybe at some point it will, but right now. We have like the staircase is like kind of spiral, so it has some shelves on the edge of it. and it's on one of those shelves right now. So anyway, when we went back to see my son on his birthday, it already seemed better. He'd been, he'd slept in the room a few times. He'd been to the cafeteria a few times. Things were already he was getting used to it there. And then also, it was just nice to be there for his birthday. And then we Skyped back to where the little brother, dog, and grandparents were, to talk to them, get them on the phone. So that was fun. Is there an order to how these go in here? All right. So it looks like they have 72 here, and then they move counterclockwise: 72, 73, 74, 75, 76. So let's keep them in that order. The only question is, which one is which? I'm going to assume I laid them out in order, though honestly I can't remember. This one has a distinctive scratch in it. Let me see if I can look at this. Yeah, that's in the second to last one, as it should be. So we're going to move 72 through 76. So we saw him, but then we've also been keeping touch. So now he's gone to a couple of classes. He's actually met all of his professors, but one of his classes has a lab, and so that's in a different room. So after he does that tomorrow, then he'll kind of have seen everything, not completed a full week yet, but have met all the teachers, seen all the classrooms, done all, each type of class. So anyway, the reports back are pretty good because in high school, one of the things that the teachers commented was that he never talks in class, good or bad. He doesn't talk in class. But apparently he is at Siena, and I don't really understand how Siena exists, because it's not like the colleges that you see in TV with those huge lecture halls with hundreds of students. It's actually nothing like that. It's really small. There's maybe 30 kids in a class. I mean, I was a computer science major. I had classes with 12 kids in it. And I remember this feature when I went to Siena, that the teachers would call on you by name. There's no hiding. They would call on you by name. They would expect to see you at every class. You couldn't pass if you didn't go to every class. And I hope that they still do that, because I think that'll work out great if true. And it turns out they do. That's still how they do it. So the reports from class work out really good. He said the first class of his computer science, the teacher came in and did a little skit pretending he was hungry and he didn't have his lunch yet, and he's going to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but then says help me out, let's write the instructions, which is sort of the first lesson in computers. Computers are very literal. They won't do anything unless you give them the instructions. You have to give those instructions perfectly. So it ends up becoming a comedy routine, unscrew the lid, and then the teacher takes out a screwdriver. And then my son corrected him by changing the instruction. The instruction came from the crowd. Oh, this is the other thing. My son apparently, he said he got there. He was one of the last people to walk in the room, so he was sitting in the front. So when the teacher said, I need someone to help me make this sandwich, it was actually my son who was making the sandwich. He was standing up there, and when the person said unscrew the lid on the peanut butter, and the teacher started getting out the screwdriver, my son updated the instruction to firmly grasp the lid, which apparently was a SpongeBob reference, and got a laugh from the crowd, while also the teacher gave him the sandwich at the end. I'm basically retelling to you the story that he told me. Maybe it's not like cool that I'm retelling this story, but nobody's watching this podcast, so it doesn't really matter. Anyway, I was pretty happy with that, and apparently all of his other classes went similarly well. He said one of the, I shouldn't get into the details. Let me just say that one of the classes didn't seem to go quite as well as the others, but I think it was through no fault of my son's. It's just, teacher who, had a lot to say. And I told him, you just go along, and, when you graduate college, you can think whatever you want. But while you're in college, you're learning what they're teaching you. So I won't go further into the details of that. I'm sure you can kind of guess. There's a lot of, you can go on like Campus Reform and, a lot of these places and find out what's going on college campuses these days. I think this is not relevant to my son's example, but like just as an example, like I think Jordan Peterson, like I forget, got some disciplinary action for like saying there's only two genders or something like that. It's like what is a gender? Like there's a main thing that's going on. I don't know if it starts in colleges or where it starts, or if colleges just go for it, but there's a real like change in words and meanings of words, and I think it like frustrates a lot of people because no one's against like a person dressing however they want, marrying whoever they want. Like nobody's against any of that stuff. But then when you start changing the words, even then, if you can be consistent about it, and you could prove why this is a better use of the word and why it's accurate, I think people would go along with it. But when you change a word and it looks to everyone from the outside like you're corrupting the word, and all of a sudden all these rules and laws that apply to that word don't apply, and we ask you to define the word and you can't, and your rules seem to be inconsistent. It's like, when that starts to happen, people are complaining. They're not bigots or racists or sexist. They're just people who are like, this word meant this for the last like 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 years. Today you've changed it to this. It doesn't make sense. You didn't define it properly, but you want us all to play along. That kind of thing. All right, so 64 is the next piece, if you look at the instructions there. So I guess we need 5 of them, and that's exactly how many are left here. So we have to get the 5 64s into here. So what's cool about that is we're now at 400 pieces, which is not even halfway. I guess we need to get to like, maybe 439 before we're like halfway or something like that. But out of 978 total pieces. But anyway, we're past 400, or we're at 400, so I'm happy with that. And I'm not really motivated to go super fast with the puzzle tonight. I'm still a little bit recovering. So when I was from all those road trips, so when I was doing the macaw, it was very easy. It was a paper puzzle. It was like origami. It was only 170 pieces according to the box. I think it ended up being more like 129 pieces, and it was so easy. I never should have spent 4 days on it, but I did. So I've sort of calibrated down my productivity in these puzzles, and I may not do a great job today, but let's see. Let's see how it goes. I don't want to talk myself out of it. So another cool thing. So, okay, the first cool thing with my son was just that he seems to be doing well in classes. The second cool thing is we used to lift here like every day, me, him, and his little brother. And today we did it, but he was at the gym at school, and me and the little brother were home, but we just did the same workout. We were thinking of even maybe doing a conference call, but instead we were just like text messaging, which even that's not super efficient. I might try like push to talk type call next time. I don't know. We got to think about it. I think it could have been done a little better, but it was still very cool to continue the lifting. The first day he went to the library, he had like 2 classes, like one ended and the other one started like 40 minutes later, and it wasn't during a lunchtime or dinner time. So it basically was nothing to do with that time, but go to the library. So he went to the library and worked, reviewed his material for school. And then I'll tell you the next one, like sort of the last communication of the day. Tell me if you think I'm being silly believing it. To me, it sounded great, but maybe there's like something I'm missing. So we finished the workout, and he goes back and he sends text like, because previous nights he'd been like playing video games with his little brother. So he says like, my arms are tired from lifting. I'm not going to game tonight. I'm going to do reading. So I'm thinking, oh, that's great. He's going to do reading because he needs to do a lot of reading for all these classes he's been taking. You know, but then it occurred to me, like, just now, as I'm talking to you, as I'm doing this live stream, like, I don't know that he's reading. Like, maybe he has other plans, you know? All I know is he's not going to be gaming. But I think he's probably reading because, for whatever reason, he likes reading. Like, there was this meme video about some treasure island, and it was like a really stupid video series. I shouldn't call it stupid. It was a really silly video series, like meme level thing. And somehow he figured out it was a reference to some 50-year-old Treasure Island cartoon, and then he bought the Treasure Island book, and he read it in like a day and a half. And the Halo books, which he's read them all, he also reads those in a day and a half. And his English, like, he had the same English teacher for all 4 years in high school, which is very rare. But the teacher, like, kept changing, you know, assignments the same as him. And the teacher was also the track coach. So, and my son was good at track. So there was some thought, because he got his best grades in English, that, oh, maybe it's just because it was the track coach was your English teacher for all 4 years. But no, it's not true. He has, for whatever reason, this is one of the things he has no problem doing, is reading. I know it's not like a big deal. You're thinking like, yeah, everybody reads. I don't know. Some people don't like the process of reading. They can't read like more than a chapter at a time. But for whatever reason, my son could like just read a book. So that's pretty cool. I used to prefer math, you know, computer. I was a computer science major. I also took math courses, physics courses. I like figure stuff out kind of thing. I'm not big on that, like reading a lot. Like if I read something, it's like going to take me a year. It's not really my strong suit. I'm more like action type of thing, like computer programming with writing. And that's the kind of way that I felt like I could write. I mean, I could write you a book, but read someone else's book? Like, come on, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to read someone else's book. I know that that seems terrible. Like, I want people to read my book, but I'm not going to read someone else's book. But I don't know. It's just like on a gut level, like how I tend to feel about that. Like I don't got time to read someone else's book. I need to be writing my own book. You know, it's probably terrible. But I'm glad that my son is more of a reader. Though the younger son, which is, he gets top grades in school, he actually does, I think he would be similar to me in that he likes to work on projects, but I don't know. I'm not saying that he's against reading, but definitely he likes like projects. Like give him a project and he'll do it. Like he'll do the research, he'll do the work, he'll get the materials, he'll do a test run. like anything project, like gardening project, building project, computer project, art project, just like anything that's a project, he can do it. Can't get this in. Is it like, what was the secret last time? There was something we did. Oh, it was this piece. Yeah, it was this piece. All right, let me take this out and put this in. So last time we had shoved this piece in to get those to go all the way down. And then once we get them all the way down, then we can push this in. And in fact, we can use this again for pushing in. There we go. That's it. That's the answer. So use this little key to push this all the way in, and then the block goes right in, no problem. And then you don't have to listen to, the quicker we get these blocks in, the less of my stories you have to listen to. I actually didn't get full report from the lifting. I have to talk to my son tomorrow. I don't know if he was using the free weights or the Nautilus. He mentioned tricep push downs, which sounds like Nautilus, but I suspect that he used free weights for the other exercises. But I don't know, maybe. Like, would he have done shoulders and bench with the cables? I don't know. I think I think he would have done free weights. I don't think we've ever bench pressed at home using cables. Now, actually, we have. We use those like hammer arms, but not Nautilus cables. Though we have done that at the Y, which is actually where I first started. My son and I first started working out at the Y. That COVID lockdown started exactly like we had been going to the Y at 5 a.m. and doing like basketball training for an hour, or let's say we'd been leaving the house close to 5 a.m. because really we probably were getting to the Y at like 5:30. Did like an hour of basketball training, and then we would do a half hour of lifting, and then we'd head home and get ready for school and work. And when that happened, the COVID lockdown started like when we were maybe 2 or 3 months in. Well, it started in March, so we actually might have been like 4 months into that program. But then I'm not sure, during the lockdown they closed the gyms. Then we started lifting on this old equipment that I had in the garage gym, but we got a lot done even with the old equipment. But at some point we bought all like new equipment. There might have been a couple of things. I think the stationary bike stayed, some of the dumbbells stayed, but for the most part, we upgraded all of the equipment. Like we went from a like little stand that did bench press, and you can move the bench out of the way and do squat, to an entire like squat rack with a bunch of squat rack attachments, including the lever arms and seat for like it's escaping me right now. Box squats, a seat for box squats, and step ups and slam balls, and like basically all the fun rack attachments that you see in videos. In fact, I made a bunch of those videos. You can see my son in those videos. It's usually like I build the equipment, he does the workout while I do a voiceover and ask him questions. That was kind of the format of it. And the only reason we're not making those videos lately is because the gym is currently being used to dry clothes. We got to replace the dryer, but it's been tough this year, like with sending a kid to college, because it's not only like college payments, but it's all that like prep for college. Like you have to buy so much, like their bedding, like extra clothes, bag, curtain, like everything at your house. You need to buy a second copy for the dorm room. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little. I mean, you don't have to buy kitchen stuff, but it just really, you just barely can think about anything else. Some people, I think, do it all in one day. You know, maybe they're like super parents. We didn't do it all in one day. We took like basically this summer was the younger son going to driver ed every day. And then the older son getting ready for college. It was like such a busy time. I don't know. I'm like not getting this stick in, and I'm just telling boring stories. But the show is called Just Rest Your Eyes, and I guess if you fell asleep during my boring story, then it was not false advertising. We accomplished the goal. All right, here's the last one of these 5 pieces. It's not really going in. It's kind of like jamming up, but all right, there we go. It's going in a little bit now. Let's get the other side ready, and let's get this piece in there. Oh, he played basketball. There's like with the guys on his floor. They went without anyone like telling them to. They just like organized on their own, went to a court and played some hoops, so that's good. That was like another thing. So he's been to the library, he's been to the weight room, he's played basketball with the guys. Like, I'm very happy with how the progress is going. He's not even there a week yet. I guess tomorrow it'll be a week. So I'm very happy. And yeah, and tomorrow he takes that computer science lab class. So then he'll have done like every type of class. I don't know why I decided to turn this on. I just feel like I need to turn it on once an episode. So, I'm not a robot. So I'm a human being. I'm a human being. That's all I got to say. All right, I'll go back to the instructions. All right, so how does this look? Those windows are where they're supposed to be. I think I could push some of these in a little bit further. A couple of them. All right, yeah. Basically, I'm going to try to get them all to flush. So that one's flush, that one's flush, that one's flush. These two could use a little bit further. Let's get that in there. All right, last one. Just using that tool. Yeah, they're all flush now. And you can see, and they're all almost flush. Why are like three of them flush and like these 2 are not? I mean, they seem pretty good on top. I don't think I need to push them any further. All right. I guess I did need to push it slightly further. All right, so whatever this is, we built it. All right, checking the instructions here. Yep, just a QC. That's basically it for the top, what is that, top half of this page. All right, the next thing that happens is this tower we just built drops onto this existing structure that we had previously built. Why is this door not closed? Is this not all the way down? Yeah, it wasn't all the way down. Okay, so how do we line this up? Is there like a specific way that it goes? There's a little triangle here. And I was thinking maybe there would be a little triangle here to line it up with, and there isn't. But what there is the other side has that little triangle. The other side also has that little triangle. It's tough to get to the angle. And it's right near this slit. So maybe we can get our triangle right near this slit. Yeah, I think we can do that. I think we can get that on. All right. So, yeah, there's some pins underneath. So basically you get the idea of where it needs to go, and then you line up the pins and push them in. Now, I'm kind of worried that if I push those pins in, this will start pulling off. So I think I need to push from all the way up here. It's a little weird, but I think that's the way to go. I'm trying to get these all lined up. What's that off on? It says off on underneath here. I guess we'll find out why soon enough. Alright. Are these all lined up? I wanted my son to get to his first class on time because I didn't. I started off college. I was late to the very first class. It was like I was so upset with myself. I was at I graduated from Siena, which is the same college my son's going to now. But my freshman year, I was at Marist, and I was in Champagne Hall, floor 16. It was on wing overlooking the quad. It was really like, they really set me up great. I was very happy with that. And the cafeteria that I was like assigned to or whatever, the closest one, was also in Champagne Hall. And the very first class that I had, they didn't really have classrooms in Champagne Hall, but they had one. It was like this area that was like a ballroom or a hallway or something, and for some reason they would like set up chairs at some times and it would become a classroom. And my very first class happened to be in the same building. So I remember being like really overconfident the day before classes start. I was like, well, I'm in this building now. I'm going to have breakfast in this building, and then I'm going to have my first class in the building. It's going to be no problem. Well, it was a problem. I screwed it up. I overslept. I didn't go to breakfast. I got to the class. It had already started. There was like one seat left in the back. That was the seat I got. It's not really relevant to the story, but the guy next to me, I think he was like a scholarship football player. He must have been the person who got there second to last to class. And he was, for some reason, like chewing tobacco and spitting it in a cup. It has nothing to do with the story. It's just like, I know that nowadays nobody like chews tobacco and spits in a cup, but in 1991, people already weren't chewing tobacco and spitting it in a cup. I don't know why this was like going on, but that was my experience of my first class. I showed up late and sat next to a guy that was chewing tobacco and spitting it into a cup, and that guy got to the class before me. I was the last one to show up. So in my mind, I was thinking, if we can get him to that first class, then he's already doing better than I did. I don't remember my grades the first semester. I don't think I ever actually failed anything, but I might have gotten some bad grades. I'll tell you, even though I didn't fail anything, what was a huge problem was grades that didn't transfer. It was such a huge problem that at some point I was considering not going through with the transfer to Siena, because it was like it was going to set me back credits. But I did it. I made them up in summer school, and I'm glad I did it. But that was like the most painful part. Was the credits that didn't transfer. And even if I'd stayed at Marist, I think I had some, because everything I would take as a computer science major, everything's like a precursor. It's like calculus 1 is a prerequisite of calculus 2. Computer science 1 is like requisite of computer science 2. It's like, and when these things are prerequisites, there's like a grade requirement. It's like not good enough just to pass it. You have to pass it in such a way that you can take the next class in the series. So that's going to be the next goal for my son, to make sure that he like really passes these classes. By the way, what's going on here in the instructions? We're like going back to the other side. Are we? Like, what's going on here? All right, so on page 25, this, you see it here in green. This is the thing that we were playing with earlier on the episode. It shows it like all the way down. But then on 26, page 26, they show it lifted out. And they're showing this gear. It's saying like repeat 2 through 4 or something like that. What does that mean? Repeat 2 through 4? 2 through 4 on a cycle? I don't understand what they're asking us to do. But that's the end of page 26. There's no other pieces involved. Just this like vague instructions to 2 through 4 gears. 2 through 4 cycle gears. I don't understand these instructions. What does that mean? 2 through 4 on a loop. 3 gears. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you this thing wants from us. Here's what I think it wants. It wants us to move this up and down. So I guess somehow now that this is attached, this should have the strength to move up and down. And it's going to like move the gears when it moves up and down or something. It kind of looks to me like it's like locked in, like we pushed it down too far or something. All right, let's see what happens. We're trying to pull this gear up. The gears are in place, so this should be able to work. It's not, though. Well, it is. Actually, it is working. The drawbridge is opening. Let's do it from this end. You'll see the drawbridge. It is kind of... Wow, it is working, actually. All right, so it's working. 2 through 4. Do they want me 2 to 4 times to open and close this? Wow, that went a little crazy that time. All right, I think it's like loosening up. Okay, now it's working. So now the drawbridge works. It closes the gate, lifts the drawbridge, drops the drawbridge, closes the gate. I don't know. We did it. Love it when a plan comes together. Old reference to Murdoch from the... Not Murdoch, but the... from the A-Team. Not Murdoch. The guy with the cigar. Okay, so... We sort of muddled around, did nothing, and now all of a sudden it works. But why does it work? Because we didn't do this side yet. Like, isn't there going to be another one of these on this side? Now I'm sort of curious where the instructions are going next. Okay. Some big caution. Tons of text. Oh, we're going to connect everything. All right, so... is it this piece? No, it looks like they're adding a piece, right? Something doesn't look quite right. Let's go here to camera 2. So, you see the instructions back there, right? Like, something doesn't look right. Oh, they have this pulled up. Okay. So they just have it, the drawbridge, like, open when they connect the two sides. Like, I don't know why that's important, but it's apparently that's what they want. But they have this going up. Why would the hell would this go up? This didn't go up. You can't see from that angle. All right, so in the instructions, which were also not on screen, they're showing this lifting up with this. But that's not how it works. This lifts up on its own without this. This has pins. It stays in place. I don't know. I'm going to close it. I'm going to put this thing together. I don't understand why they're saying what they're saying. All right, we're officially moving on to 27. It looks like all we do is clip this to this. So these things are going to go together, and they're going to get clipped, and that's the end. That's all she wrote. All right, just a bunch of pins, and we're going to stick all those pins together. But before we do that, let's read these instructions, because maybe they're important. I doubt it. Okay, A, B. All right, A, B, got it. All right. So A, B. I think this is A, and therefore, oh, you don't see. Okay. This is A, and this is B. It doesn't seem like it's like you just drop one into the other. You drop the tab into the slot. That's what we always do. Anyway, let's read their notes. You can choose to read them in whatever language you want. I'm going to go with English. Relying on the plywood flexibility, gently insert part A into groove B, symmetrically on both edges of part A. Excuse me. I don't know why they put a separate instruction for that. Of course we're going to stick part A into part B. I mean, why would we do anything else? Like, what am I missing here? They're making this like entire page to this one instruction, and they're making quite a caution sign about putting A into B. See? There's like a little caution flag here. This stuff is in green. They got a whole bunch of text in foreign languages. And all that they're saying is put tab A into slot B. What am I missing here? Of course, there's nowhere else we're going to put either of those. Like, of course we're going to do that. Like, we're going to do that, and we're also going to do 100 other connections. But for some reason, they're only mentioning the A and B. All right. Let's make them happy by doing the A and B before we do any other connections. What did they say? Gently insert. Yeah, like gently insert part A into the grooves of part B. I mean, I don't know what's going on here. I feel like I'm being pranked. They just wanted to get me to read that line for some reason. I don't know. Like gently. Gently. Okay, gently. I got you. Gently, yeah, of course. What do you think? I'm just going to shove it in there? All right, gently insert part A into groove B. Freaking perverts. All right, let's get the part A into part B. I mean, honestly, some people are like, insert part A into groove C. And it's like, hold on a second. I mean, come on. Let's be serious for a minute. That's not, just biologically speaking, that's like not what you're supposed to be doing. There's like health risks, long-term damage, immediate potential damage. Okay, I guess let's follow the instructions. I guess, it should be posted in all foreign languages, and it should be made clear to everyone. Part A goes into slot B, like that's what it's for. Like, maybe you thought it was obvious, and maybe we all thought it was obvious, but we need to post this because, if not, someone's going to put it into slot C, and all hell is going to break loose. So, all right, so we got A into B. I'm very happy about that. But there's a lot of things that we didn't get in. I can look and see more connections. But if I look at the bottom here, it's not exactly lined up. You see that? Like, why is that not lined up? because it should be. Like A is in B, but if you look at the bottom, they're not at the right height. And I think they should be. Maybe it's because all of the other pins, the connections that haven't been made yet. And I also can't really fit my fingers in here to do this. Like one side went in pretty good. The other side didn't. All right. Now they're both about even. Let's take a look at the bottom now. I can go further. Of course, gently. Of course, gently. All right, I think if we start making some of these top connections, that will also help. Excuse me. All right. I can barely see in there. I got to get a closer look. Yeah. Yep. Okay. As I suspected. This needs to go a little bit forward to make these connections. That's better. Yeah, gently. Okay. I wonder if this is, like, a lot of times when I'm doing this, I think, like, is this the toughest part of the puzzle? Is this the toughest part of the puzzle? This is one of those candidates. Is this the toughest part of the puzzle right now? It might be. No, it went kind of too well. No, the bottom is, like, far apart. Why? We did it. We were gentle. We put A into B. We followed all the rules. Everything was by the book. Why is this, like, off by a 1/16 of an inch? Come on. Alright, maybe some pin up here is not in yet. Yeah, that was it. Nope, that didn't make it. I did make a pin up there, but it's still kind of far away. Now, A and B are kind of close together. I could see someone thinking they're putting it in B. No, A and B are on separate boards, but B and C are close together. I definitely could see someone mistaking one for the other. So I'm just kind of double checking ours. I think ours is good. I think I just need to push this down. I think the time for gentleness is past. And now we need to, like, really get this lined up. Yeah, it's good on that side. Let's get it close here. Oh, I almost broke everything. All right. I think it's time to put a staple in the bottom. I'm just looking for other connections that are, like, there's clearly supposed to be something here that they haven't asked us to put on yet. All right. I think it's pretty good. It's not perfect yet. You can see there, but maybe as we add pins, it'll start pulling things together. Like, I can push it together, but it's not going to stay like that. But maybe when we add pins, then it will, like, pull things together a little bit. So let's see. We're going to move on to page 28. What? Oh, they are putting this on now, huh? So this piece that we struggled to put on, like, remember that we started the show, like, struggling to get this piece on? Turns out we weren't even supposed to put that piece on yet. And like, even still, it's not supposed to be on. Like, I didn't realize that. I thought we were supposed to put it on. All right, now they're trying to show us something here. Again, with those A's and B's. All right, yeah, there's a close-up. A and B, got it. Unbelievable. They're, like, obsessed with that A and B. Okay, there's what it looks like. Yeah, I mean, that's what it looks like. I don't know how it could look like anything else. I mean, there you go. Yep, that's what it looks like, all right. Now for the staples. 59. I would think there would be 2 of those. Yeah, 2 of those, right. Yeah, 59. All right, let's get the staples in. That's going to bring us to 402. We're going to put in two 59s. The 59s are on board 2. Let's find the two 59s, put them in. And apparently then we're done with page 28. Is this page 28? Yeah. All we do on page 28 is put in two staples. 59. Is that... Did I already pop out the 59? Because I don't see it here. Alright, I thought maybe it was in my... Oh, there's 59. There's the staples, okay. Alright, we're going to put those staples in, and that's going to make everything come together. Either that or we won't be able to get the staples in and everything's going to get pushed apart. One or the other. Going to fix everything or break everything. You know? So, let's see which one it is. Alright. Here we go. Do you think we can rest that on its side? I mean, it seems like we can. Alright, let's get this. This one's further apart. Should we do that first or second? Alright, there we go. That looks good. Get that in there. Gently, gently. Gently insert one thing into another thing. Alright, okay. That, see? Now that wasn't gentle. Look at that. That piece is busted now. I mean, could you imagine? Well, let's. We obviously need to be more gentle. Let's gently insert this tab into this slot, and then it's going to be put together, right? Alright, that didn't work. Let's try the other side. Oh, the other side is easy. Everything is like perfectly lined up. It's so easy that I didn't get it on the first try. Alright. Let's see how the second try goes. No, that piece is busted. Alright. I mean, it looks lined up. I'm not sure why it's not going in there. Alright. There we go. It just started playing music. I don't know why. I must have hit a gear or something. Oh, man. I remember the first set of staples down here. I remember, like, not having any problem getting those in. But the second set does not want to go in. I keep bending this. Keep bending the tabs. Alright. At some point I'm just gonna push it in there, whether the tabs are bent or not. Okay. It went in fine, and here's a new piece. So let's try to get this one without breaking it. I mean, it looks like it should work, right? Like, what about this is a problem? Come on. It's not going in there. Let's look from this side. See if we can find the problem. There's no problem. It needs to go in. Alright. How can we make this happen? Alright, that was a good start. Now we gotta shove this in. Not happening. Alright. Okay. Now it's going to go in. There we go. I'll just tell you that off camera, I flaked this piece off. So this is not an A+ grade, but I got the staple in. I just want to tell you how I did it in case you also give up. I don't know. I'm not the world's best model builder. Sometimes I got to flake a piece off to make it work. Maybe someday I'll be able to do it without cheating, but I'm not yet at that point. All right, page 29. We're going to use this thing. So there's a bag with some sort of wires in it, and we're about to use that thing. That's piece 403. There's some text here explaining what to do with that piece. Zalishite sem drotu jak zaski instructie. Okay. Keep the 2-inch wire as specified in the manual. Keep the 2-inch wire as specified in the manual. 2 centimeter. Okay. That wire is way longer than 2 inches. Keep the 2-inch wire. It's also way longer than 5 centimeters. What are they talking about? This wire is way longer than 5 centimeters or 2 inches or whatever. Okay. Let's try to follow what's going to happen. We're going to loop it all through. Oh, that's cool. Remember those little pieces we put in? See, they have like circles in them. They're all over here. We're going to be threading this wire through there. All right, so that text is basically... Okay, I'll tell you what that text was telling us. Once you loop it through, keep 5 centimeters of slack at the back. That's what they're saying. That's why they use the word keep. Keep the 2-inch wire as specified. Okay, I would rephrase this as keep 2 inches of wire as specified in the manual. Keep 2 inches of wire, not keep the 2-inch wire, because that makes it sound like this is a 2-inch wire, which it's not. Keep 2 inches of wire. Okay, probably would have made more sense in another language. The first one is, I believe, Ukrainian. All right. So we need to thread this through, keeping 2 inches at the back. This is about, I think, the 2 inches. So we need to thread it through. What do you think? Do we thread this through tonight or tomorrow? I'm going to save it for tomorrow. I mean, I'm glad that we got to page 29, but we're over an hour, and I don't know how long this threading of this wire is going to take. So I got to think up a story to tell tomorrow while I'm threading this wire, because it's probably going to take a few minutes. I'm John Rapp. This is Just Rest Your Eyes. Good night, and see you tomorrow.